You're listening to Tassie Encounters Moments on Faith FM, and we're coming to you from Tasmania, right across Australia. Each weekday on Tassie Encounters, you can hear what the Bible says about past, current and future events. You can learn how to study the Bible more effectively. You can get to know who God is, why we're here and where we're going. And you can experience personal encounters with Jesus. I'm your host, Jason Cook. And today, again, we've got Kevin Amos joining us. And Kevin is currently travelling around Australia in a special vehicle called Bubsie. Welcome, Kevin. It's good to have you back again.
Hello, Jason. Good to catch up with you again and to share a little more about Neville Westwood's trip around Australia 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And some of our adventures last year when we traced his original route.
Now, you're in Tassie at the moment with this vehicle, and is it the same vehicle, or is it a replica? Is it a similar vehicle? What's the situation there?
Okay, the car that Neville drove is in the care of the National Museum in Canberra.
Okay.
And what the Incredible Journey television company, who wanted to retell the story with a genuine car, 4 years ago, they bought a Citroen 5CV that was manufactured the same year as the car that Neville had. Now, it was in a bit of a mess. It had to be restored, and that was then used as the filming prop to retell the story. And then once the filming had been done, we then used the car as a display vehicle to travel around Australia and to share with folks what the original car looked like and to retell the story. And now we are travelling for a month around Tasmania, putting it on display and retelling a bit of Australian motoring history.
Now, if I'm right, Kevin, the original trip did not include Tasmania. So this is a new part of the trip, is that right?
Yes, Neville and Greg never came to Tasmania, but Tasmania is part of the Australian story. So the Incredible Journey said, let's do a trip round Tasmania as well so that this state can be included with the anniversary celebration.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I think yesterday in our story we went through some of the early days of Neville Westwood and him selling books, and he did it on bicycle and motorcycle, and I think you mentioned even camels and other things. So, but eventually he borrowed this vehicle in order to head from Perth up to Darwin, and I think we're about to go through that sort of journey today. Is that right?
Yes. So once he got hold of the vehicle from his brother, he quickly travelled up to where he had left off. So he didn't start selling. In fact, I think he drove for 2, if not 3 days, just to get up to the area around Meekatharra, where he had been selling, and then he started visiting the new homesteads and towns as he made, with his mate Greg, their way up towards Darwin.
Right, okay. Now, I'm guessing that the roads 100 years ago weren't exactly like they are today.
You are quite correct. To Meekatharra, there was a proper formed road, not asphalt, but a proper gravel road, all weather. But he records that from Meekatharra onwards, up towards Broome, it was tracks through the bush.
Wow.
And then from Broome onwards, it was following drover tracks and camel carts through the bush to homesteads. So from Broome onwards, no roads until you get to Darwin.
It sounds like a four-wheel drive type of track.
It is the original four-wheel drive story, but the car does not have four-wheel drive. It's only rear-wheel drive. And the reason why he actually chose the Citroen, there's 3 reasons. 1, it has an excellent ground clearance. 2, it is very light. It only weighs 580 kilograms.
Right.
So if need be, you can get out and push. And 3, it is very economical on fuel.
Okay.
40 miles to the gallon.
And what's that in litres per 100 Ks these days?
Okay, litres per 100 Ks, it is 5 point something.
Right, so quite efficient.
Yeah, very fuel efficient. So that's why he chose the car, because he knew there was going to be a limited availability of petrol out in these remote communities.
So did he have any troubles getting through these tracks? It sounds like they were quite challenging travelling there, not really formed roads. So I'm guessing he might have run into some trouble on the way.
Okay. He talks about very early in the piece, particularly driving through one cattle station to the next cattle station, that as he was driving through one cattle station, the cattle in the paddock that he was driving through were attracted to the sound of the engine. You know, tractors are associated with feeding out hay or grain and things like that. And so all these fat stock came racing over to the car. Now, these two guys, Neville and Greg, are 6'3" and 6'4". And so for most of their driving, the car is a convertible. They had the canopy folded back. And so cows came racing over at that very opportune moment. They ran out of petrol.
Oh, dear.
Now, it wasn't that they didn't have petrol. They had it in a few cans on the side, but the car stopped, and these cattle with their big horns were poking their heads into the car to see what they could see. Now, Neville grew up on a cattle station. It didn't worry him at all. But Greg was horrified. He thought he was about to die. So he very surreptitiously was trying to reach back into the back compartment to find a rifle to protect himself.
Wow.
And Neville said, it's all right. It's okay. Just sit quietly. Just give them 5 minutes. They'll lose interest and they'll go away. And sure enough, within 5 minutes, the cattle all wandered off. And Neville was able to get out, put the extra petrol back into the car, and they headed off again. So that was a bit scary for Greg, who wasn't familiar with how cattle operate around a vehicle.
Now, apart from the animal challenges, did they have any mechanical breakdowns or any other challenges heading up there?
All right. At this stage, they found it a little bit tricky getting petrol. They would sell their book to the homesteaders and buy fuel off them, and most of them had fuel. There were occasions when some of the stations did not have petrol. In fact, at one station he got to, they said the nearest petrol is 64 kilometres away, and Neville borrowed 2 horses, rode 64 kilometres at night, arrived at the cattle station at 8 o'clock in the morning, had breakfast, bought petrol, and then rode 64 kilometres back with petrol in little 4-gallon tins.
And that got them to the next stage, I guess.
Yeah. And on one occasion, they developed a petrol leak in the tank, and so they knew that this was going to be very bad. So they figured out that if Neville drove with his finger up under the dashboard, because the petrol tank is between the dashboard and the engine front firewall, that he could stop the flow of petrol, but he couldn't see with his head down. So he drove, and Greg said, left, right, stop, start, slow, go. And eventually they ran out of petrol and had to walk 32 kilometres up the beach towards Broome to find the nearest homestead and get some more petrol. Fortunately, the farmer took pity on them and drove them back to their car. and help them fix the tank and put the more petrol in.
So I guess these different stations, the different remote stations on the way were quite vital. And I guess, I don't know, did they have a map? Did they know where they were going to encounter people that they could, that they might be able to get fuel from? And, how would that have been?
Okay, as I said, no maps, no GPS. So basically you come to a homestead and you say, hi, I'm Neville. This is what we're doing, selling Christian books, finding out how you folks are doing, etc. And when they had finished whatever they needed to do, they would say, all right, where is your neighbour? And it goes like this. Okay, if you head up north, but a bit east, there is a couple of streams and gullies you're going to have to go on, but about 10 or 15 kilometres in that direction is where our neighbour lives. And yes, I know they've got petrol. So you basically travel on directions from the last customer.
Now, and I guess some of these people that they encountered along the way, living in outback Australia, they'd probably never even seen a vehicle before.
Okay. And particularly the Aboriginal people. And I want you to just imagine this. You hear a noise coming through the bush, see a cloud of dust, and it comes closer and closer and pulls up, and then this noisy thing goes dead quiet, like it never turns off the motor. And the Aboriginal community, he said, were really curious because they didn't even know what a car was. So they would come over very cautiously and they would touch it because, again, they were not used to metal objects. And then he said, I delighted in tooting the horn. Now, they, of course, would jump and laugh, but Neville really took a shine to the Aboriginal community because he saw them as a people that what he was doing could really benefit them, understanding of life. And many of them were living rough in bush-constructed humpies, and their children were not in school because they didn't have schools for Aboriginal communities. In fact, the following year, Neville went back round Australia again with a health emphasis and particularly an interest in visiting Aboriginal community with a nurse dentist and gave them health care and treatment.
That's amazing. So as we finish up today's program, and we're still only about halfway to Darwin, I guess, at this point in time.
Yes, we're slowly getting there.
What are some lessons we can draw from some of the challenges that they had, and the fact that they kept going and they made it?
We discovered ourselves last year driving right round the mainland that you never know in a day who you are going to meet. Now, most of us are pretty routine. We know the people in the grocery store, the supermarket, the petrol station, the people that we mix with. But Neville and often ourselves, you never know who you're going to meet. And what is interesting is this: if I keep my eyes open and my ears open and start a conversation with people, you never know that you may turn out to be a blessing to that individual, or that individual may in actual fact be a blessing to you with knowledge and understanding of what's going on around this place that you don't know. And we just learnt to pray every morning. Today, Lord, it's in your hands. Guide, direct. If you want us to meet people, bring them. If you want people to meet us, this is where we'll be. And virtually every day we see people that we've never met before, but we are blessed with them and they are blessed in meeting us.
Now, as we record this, you're on the northwest coast of Tasmania, but when this goes to air, you'll be heading down the west coast. Tell us about your plans down the west coast and then down into the southern Tasmania area.
Okay, at the moment, yes, we're up in northwest Tasmania, but next week, Monday, we're heading down through to Queenstown, and then by Tuesday, we hope to be in Hobart area. And on our website, tij.tv/RAA, Right Round Australia, we have a schedule of places where we will be displaying Bubsie through the Hobart region. And I know particularly on Sunday, I think it's in 2 Sundays' time, we will be at the Hilliard Christian School where they are putting on a motorcar display, and Bubsie will be present if you want to come and see the replica of Bubsie.
That's awesome. We'll put some details together for that as well, and we'll make sure that our listeners can get more details about that particular event. So I'll look forward to being there. I'll be there at Hilliard when you're up there as well. So, well, thank you once again, Kevin, and we look forward to joining you again tomorrow as you tell us more about the story. I think probably from the Kimberleys up to Darwin tomorrow on our program. So thank you again, and stay tuned for our book offer.
This program is made possible by the support of Adventist World Radio.
Our book offer today is Bubsie and the Boys, the first journey around Australia by car. This is written by David Riley, and it's the full story in book form of this story that we've been talking about this week with Kevin. Bubsie and the Boys tells the comprehensive epic story of this adventurous big lap of Australia in detail. And there are a lot of photos in the book as well, so if you're interested in getting a book of this story and being able to read it in detail, look at the pictures, text us in the code word for this book, TEM61. That's TEM61, no spaces. Text that into our show number 0488 880 891. That's 0488 880 891. This is Trust in You by Eleni. May you encounter Jesus more today.
Letting go of every single dream, I lay each one down at your feet. Every moment of my wandering never changes what you see. I've tried to win this war, I confess. My hands are weary, I need your rest. Mighty warrior, king of the fight, no matter what I face, you're by my side. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you. Truth is, you know what tomorrow brings. There's not a day ahead you have not seen. So in all things be my life and breath. I want what you want, Lord, and nothing less. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you. I will trust in you. I will trust in you.
This program has been made possible by the support of Adventist World Radio.